Hello, fifth grade. Today is Wednesday, April 1st. Happy April Fool's Day. Today we're working on something that is not too difficult, but it is a skill that we're going to be using as we get into higher math, especially next year. So if you do not have a calculator handy, I need you to pause this video and go find any form of calculator. It doesn't need to be a fancy one, just any calculator that you can find. Once you have one, come back and start up the video again. All right, so the skill that we are working on is how a fraction is really a type of division problem. I do not think you've been taught this before. All right, so this might be new, but like I said, it's not that tricky. So when we look at this fraction, we say 1/4. As we get into higher math, we want to think of this fraction bar. The line right here is basically being the same as a division sign. Okay, they are very similar. They both have a bar in the center of them. If you look at the division sign, you can kind of think of the dot at the top as being your numerator and the dot at the bottom as being your denominator, to kind of remind you that the fraction bar does mean division. Okay, so when we want to turn our fraction into a decimal, this is what we're going to do. All right, the numerator is entered first into your calculator. Then we press the division sign, then the denominator. All right, so let's practice. Okay, our first one is 1/4. So in your calculator, put in 1 divided by 4, hit equal or enter. All right, and you should have the answer 0.25, or the calculator I'm using just has 0.25. Okay, clear it out. Let's try another one. Our fraction is 1/5. We want to turn it into a decimal. So put in 1 divided by 5, hit equal or your enter button. All right, and you can see that you would get 0.2 or just 0.2. All right, the fraction form and the decimal form are worth the same amount. They're just being written in different ways. All right, so 1/4 is the same as 25 hundredths. 1/5 is the same as 2/10. Okay, let's try another one. 3/6, we would put in 3 divided by 6. All right, and we get an answer of 0.5 or 0.5. 3/6 is the same as 0.5. All right, they are both equal to 1/2. Right, we can have a fraction that's an improper fraction where the larger number is on top. You do it the same way. Put in 8 divided by 2, and you will get an answer of 4. Okay, or it could be written as 4.0. Now, the reason this skill is important is because I use it when I teach percents and ratios and proportions. All right, it's also a skill that shows up in algebra. So you're being introduced to it now in your math book, since we're doing division and fractions. I guess that's why they put this concept in this chapter. Okay, the other thing that we're going to work on today is a repeating decimal. Okay, sometimes when you put a fraction into your calculator to turn it into a decimal, you get a decimal that never ends and it follows a pattern. All right, that's why it's called a repeating decimal. And we need to learn how to write it mathematically. All right, so get your calculators ready. All right, we're going to try 1/9. So remember, top number goes in first, 1, Then we hit the division sign. Bottom number goes in second. So 1 divided by 9. Okay, and you're going to get a decimal that looks like this. All right, 0.111111, and it fills up your calculator screen. Okay, mathematicians do not want to have to write all those ones. So they have come up with a symbol that's called a repeating bar. So you use the repeating bar to put it over the number that repeats in the decimal. So in this case, it's the 1 that is repeating. So we would write it as 0.1. We put the bar on top, and mathematicians would say 0.1 repeating when they read that problem. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do 1/6. So once again, put in 1 divided by 6, hit enter. Okay, and take a look at what you get. 0.166666666, and then there's a 7 at the end. All right, it doesn't mean that the decimal suddenly changed. What it means is your calculator rounded the 6 up to a 7. All right, that's what that last digit means. All right, so it doesn't mean the pattern changed, it just means your calculator rounded because there was no more space on your calculator screen. So we would write this decimal as 0.1. Okay, the 1 is not repeating, so it does not get the bar. It's only the 6 that is repeating, and we put the bar on top of the 6. All right, we do not do anything with the 7. It just means that your calculator rounded. Okay, let's look at the next one. It's 1/12. So we're going to put in 1 divided by 12. Okay, and we are going to get this, which is 0.08333333. Okay, only the 3 is repeating. The 0 is not repeating. The 8 is not repeating. All right, so we would write this as 0.083 repeating. All right, and that's how we would read it. 0.083 repeating, because only the 3 is repeating. All right, let's try a few more. Okay, here's another example. Clear out your calculator. Our fraction is 1/11, so stick in 1 divided by 11. Okay, and we get 0.090909, and that pattern continues. Okay, this time it's the 0 and the 9 that are repeating. So when we write it, we need to put the bar over both numbers, all right, because the pattern is 2 numbers that are repeating, not just 1. All right, so we would write this as 0.09 repeating. Okay, now the last one, I want to show you a decimal that sometimes people think is a repeating decimal. So we have 7/8. So you would put in 7 divided by 8. All right, and you come up with a longer decimal. We come up with 0.875. All right, this is not a repeating decimal. It's just a decimal that has a longer answer. If it was repeating, it would be 0.875875875. All right, it doesn't. All right, so we do not use the repeating bar on this one. All right, we're going to be learning that this is called a terminating decimal because it stops. All right, it just looks unusual because you have 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. All right, so 5th grade, you do not need your math book today. I've just put the problems directly onto a Google document. You're going to need a calculator, and you're going to practice turning fractions into their decimal forms. Okay, and you're going to type that right into your document. Now that I'm thinking about it, the ones, if you have one with a repeating decimal, not really sure how you're going to show that on your document. So if you have a repeating decimal one, why don't you just type repeating decimal after your answer so that I know you know it's a repeating decimal. Sorry, I didn't think of that ahead. I don't think we have a repeating bar that you can put into a document. Good luck with the practice. Should be quick, should just take you a couple minutes to do. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.